Thank you for joining the Fund Distribution Applicant Training for the United Way of Lincoln and Lancaster County and the City of Lincoln and Lancaster County, Nebraska. Today's training will walk you through how to apply for funding, how to access your online grant management account, and the Fund Distribution Review. The United Way and Joint Budget Committee formed a partnership back in the 1970s. Their goal, because their funding was so similar, was to combine their funding process into one application, which would achieve greater efficiency and effectiveness of public and private resources. Each funder has a separate funding focus, however they are similar. United Way focuses program funding for children and families in crisis, and the Joint Budget Committee focuses funding programs that provide basic and emergency needs, as well as adult behavioral health programs. United Way and JBC has developed and defined strategies for their funding areas. These strategies have been created to define and create definitions for each strategy, including the program requirements, the populations that they wish to serve, formal outcomes, and specific indicators for each strategy. It's required that programs have been measuring these indicators for no less than 2 years to be able to be considered for funding. You'll also be required to provide how you're measuring those indicators and what tools you're using. You can reference page 10 in the manual to have a full listing of all of the funding strategies and review all of the definitions. If you've not yet picked up a copy of the Fund Distribution Manual, it's available in the United Way office at 238 South 13th, downtown Lincoln, or you're able to download a copy from our website, www.unitedwaylincoln.org, or from your grant management account. United Way and JBC have a list of combined strategies. The first is food, victim safety, and shelter are all funded by both funders, United Way and JBC. Emergency response programs are only funded by United Way, as well as expanded learning, education supports, and youth development programs. United Way and JBC both fund behavioral health programs. However, United Way only funds youth programming, and JBC only funds adult behavioral health programming. The steps to apply. You must submit an application. The application opens today at 10 a.m. and closes February 13th at 5 p.m. It's important to pay attention to this deadline because after 5 p.m., the application will no longer be available for submission and no late submissions are accepted. Step 2, submit agency financial documents. New agencies must submit all supporting documents by the application deadline, the most recent year-end available. So if you're a calendar year and by February 13th, if you've not yet had your audit complete, we will accept the 2013 audit information. Current partners are required to submit 2014 year-end documents, and you can reference page 25 in your manual for a full list of the requirements and instructions for submission. Step 3 is to participate in application review meetings. United Way and JBC implement a volunteer fund distribution review process, which engages volunteers, donors, and stakeholders from our community to engage and review applications and make funding recommendations to the United Way Board, as well as the City County's Joint Budget Committee. Program representatives are required to attend meetings in March to meet with these teams and discuss supplemental information about their programs and applications. It's an opportunity to get in front of the volunteers that will be making recommendations. And upon a successful application submission, United Way staff will contact program staff and directors with meeting invitations, dates, times, and locations. Step 4 is to respond timely to questions. Review teams have questions or may need to request clarification to better understand the program or the application responses. United Way staff will contact you with those questions via phone or email. It's important that agency staff respond timely and by the deadlines provided to the United Way staff. Please be sure to ensure that all of your contact information is up to date in your agency grant management account. We use the contact information listed in your grant management account to contact agency representatives, program staff, and even executive directors. The financial documentation review is conducted by a team of certified public accountants. The goal of this financial documentation review is not to re-audit any organization, but it is important as a funder to understand the financial health of an organization before committing to funding. How to submit the financial documentation. Again, new agencies must submit by February 13th, and currently funded agencies by April 17th. The manual outlines all of this information on page 25. And be sure to understand that you must submit the information in two ways. The first is to upload the documents to your online agency accounts, and the second is to deliver a paper copy to the United Way office by 5 p.m. on the due date. That can be done by hand delivering it or through the mail. Next, we'll talk about our grant management account. All of the organizations have already signed up and used the grant management accounts. So as you know, it's a web-based software that we use for application reporting, and our volunteers use it for review and evaluation. The system tracks program information from year to year. So once you've completed your application, upon successful funding, this data will be shared, automatically rolled over into any reporting requirements as you move forward through this grant funding cycle. Now we'll jump over and do an application demonstration. We'll walk through how to log in, complete and save forms, how to submit the application, and make sure that everyone knows how to upload financial documents. I'm going to share a different screen, and we'll jump over to our EC Impact login. As you can see, my username is Sarah Kramer, and I'm going to go ahead and type in my unique password and click sign in. I'm logged in and reviewing the home page. And you can see, I can see who I'm logged in as, myself, in the upper left-hand corner. I have the opportunity to change my password, update my individual user profile, or use a secure sign-out. I can also increase the way that I view this screen or view the font size by toggling between the two larger or smaller font size options in the upper right-hand corner. The main screen shows any news or updates, and United Way staff are able to post any news or information in this area. So it's important that you're checking this regularly to see if there's any new information about due dates, review team meetings, and etc. Moving down the navigation tree, you'll see home is the home page we're on currently. The next option is agency profile. Agency profile information was captured upon registration of your account and includes the agency name and the EIN. As you scroll down on this screen, you'll see that you're able to update or add multiple addresses, multiple phone numbers, and multiple email accounts. Next, we'll move over to contacts from the navigation tree. And you'll see that my agency, ABC agency, my test agency for this system, has 3 contacts: myself, Robin McDaniel, and Brian Watchman. There's no limits to the number of contacts that you can have listed here. However, we only require that you list the contacts that have a relationship or a need for the information that is in the grant management account. At my test agency, ABC Test Agency, I'm listed as the admin staff. There's a program director listed as well as our executive director. We do require that the executive director and appropriate program staff are listed as contacts here. It's also important to update all of the phone numbers, email addresses of everyone, because this is how we contact, and this is the contact information we use to contact you with questions about your applications. We'll jump down to program profiles, and you can see the number of programs that the ABC agency has attached to its agency here. We'll continue to scroll down, and you'll see the first option is compliance, the annual agency eligibility for the 2014 year-end request. We'll jump to that after we take a look at the 2015-17 fund distribution application. I'm going to go ahead and click on the fund distribution application link. My screen changes to show a listing of different forms. The first is the ABC agency's agency form. This is a form that's required to be filled out, and it's about the agency. So let's go ahead and click in and begin looking at the information. This information also pre-fills for my application registration. So my agency name's pre-filled and all of the contact information. The executive director name is listed as Robin, but I'm going to select from my drop-down list of my contacts and select Brian. And make sure that there's text and answers to all of the questions. There are save options at the bottom of the screen and at the top of the screen. You have the option to save my work and stay on the same page, save my work and return to the previous page, save my work and mark as completed. You must use this save option once your application form is complete and ready to submit. All forms must be saved in this completed status in order for the application submission option to be available. As I scroll to the top of the page, I see the same saving options as just the icons, not the full listed information. There's also a blue bar that says switch forms. This is actually a toggle option where I can access any of the forms that are assigned to me, and I can quickly navigate to a different form or return to the previous page. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and click Save My Work and mark as complete. I've completed that form, and now the agency information is highlighted in yellow, and that form indicates that it's completed and ready to submit. I'm not ready to submit my application. There are still 7 forms that need to be completed to complete the application. We're going to start at the top and click on Program Proposal. Please note that the status indicated is not started. I'm going to click on Program Proposal and begin to fill in information about my organization. The text boxes do not offer spell check, so we do recommend that you use a Word document to type all of your answers to narrative questions and copy and paste in. There are also character limitations for text boxes, so please pay attention to those limits as you are answering and creating your responses. I'm going to scroll to the bottom, and this time I'm going to just click Save My Work and return to the previous page. When I do that, you'll see the differences in saving. The program proposal is now showing in progress, and you'll see the difference in the agency information form as being saved as completed and ready to submit. I can't emphasize enough that all programs, when ready to submit, must be saved in the completed and ready to submit option prior to submission or having the ability to click and submit your application. Let's jump down to the Program to Activities and Performance section. Again, I'm going to scroll through and answer all of the questions. You'll see on question 8, there's a green question mark. Those question marks give you more information about the question itself. So question 8 is, how does the program improve the client's safety and stability? If I hover over that green question mark, a box pops up and reads, include how families or individuals transition out of your program into safe environments. So be sure to take a peek at those green question marks because they will give you more information and insight to the intent of the question. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and click Save My Work and mark as complete. My screen will go back to the program activities, or to the full listing of the forms. And I'm going to move on to another form, the victim safety chart. In all charts, we're asking for historical data. So not only of how your program is proposing to serve clients during the 2015-16 funding year, but also how your current program is funding folks, and as well as a complete previous fiscal year. I'm going to click Save My Work and mark as completed. It's going to take me back to my full listing, and I'm going to drill into the outcomes and indicators. The outcomes and indicators form, in order to edit, I must click Edit to update the data. Be sure to scroll completely through and answer all questions. And at the bottom, again, click Save My Work and mark as complete. Next is client characteristics or client demographics. I'm going to enter data about my programs. And these totals will automatically update upon saving the form. And the percentage of total clients is an automatic calculation upon saving. One thing that I must point out is that this is a complete unduplicated count of the clients you've served. So as you're reporting the number of clients you tracked on age, that total must match the total of males, females, and gender that you've served, as well as the information about the total race and ethnicity. So if you capture the gender, but not everyone identified their age or their race or ethnicity, please be sure to indicate that appropriately so all of your columns total are accurate. In the income section, it's important to complete this. If your organization does not have actual data on the clients you serve, it is appropriate to provide an estimate, but please note that we may request further documentation on how you calculated that estimate. I'm going to click Save My Work and mark as complete. And I just have 2 forms left to complete. The program budget. The program budget, once again, is capturing not only current program budget year, but the previous program budget year, as well as the proposed year. The highlighted options are places that you can itemize. So in the revenue section, for fees, grants, and governmental agencies, and local and national foundations revenue, and also miscellaneous revenue. So I'm going to jump into and let's say that my program receives a local grant. And we're not sure that we'll receive it next year, and we've not budgeted for it. This year we're receiving $2,500, and the previous year we did not receive any. I'm going to save my work and return to the previous page. And you'll see that my itemization shows as a single line item, and above that is the total. So if I had multiple grants that I needed to list, it would show in the grayed area as those individuals, and the white is the cumulative total that rolls into my budget totals. I'm going to save my work and mark this as complete, and we're getting close to being able to submit. I have one last form to complete, my finance questions. I'm going to complete these questions, click Save Work and mark as complete, and now I'm ready to submit. But as I'm reviewing, I don't have or see a way to submit my application, and I notice that my program proposal has not been saved in the proper status. So I'm going to drill into the program proposal and save that as save my work and mark as complete. Once all of my application forms are saved in that completed and ready to submit status, you'll now see that the application option is available. I must list my executive director's name, indicating that he is aware that we're submitting this application and that he is also aware of all of the policies and procedures outlined in the United Way JBC Fund Distribution Manual. And we also require that you notify your board president, and the board president approves of this application submission. The system will send an email confirmation to the email listed here. It automatically pre-fills with the email that's connected to my profile. However, at this point, if you are wanting that email confirmation to automatically go to your executive director or any other staff, you may change that email address at this time. I'm not making any changes, and so I'm going to click Submit this application now. All of my forms have gone to green. All of the status is submitted, and I'm now showing a submission details information section. My options here are to review or print the packet if I wanted to print a hard copy for my records, or export a copy to save on our server. Those are options that you have here, and you can export that into a PDF format, and it will be combined into one program application. Now, the application has been submitted, but we're not done yet with the full application process. I still need to submit my financial documentation for the agency eligibility review. So I'm going to click on the 2014 year-end request and drill into a new application section. There are just two options to complete here. The first is the agency questions. I'm going to complete all answers and save my work and mark as complete. And then I'm going to click into documentation. Here's a listing of all of the documents that are required to be submitted. And in order to upload the file, we simply click Choose File, select the file you're wanting to save, and at the bottom of the screen, click Save/Upload Attachments. You must click that every time you upload an individual document. I cannot upload multiple documents at one time. So now my agency annual report, I have a file attached, and I still need to upload my board roster. Click Save, and it looks like I have all of the required documents uploaded. Organization did not have a management letter, and so there's no need to submit a response to that management letter. We did not have a state or federal audit, and there weren't any additional or supplemental letters to our audit. I'm going to click Return to Overview page, and now I again have the availability to submit this application. I need to let my executive director know that we're submitting. He knows, and now I'm able to submit this application. Remember, you must submit the financial information in two ways: a hard copy to United Way's office, as well as the electronic copies submitted through the EC Impact. I'm going to click Submit now. My status has changed to submitted, and I've received an email indicating a confirmation. And that takes us through the application submission process. I'm going to share a new screen now and jump back to that PowerPoint. and talk about award notifications. United Way award notifications will be made following the May board meeting, and United Way staff will contact all applicants by phone to discuss their award or application status. JBC notifications happen following the city county board budget approvals, and depending on the year and the timing, could be anytime between June and July. For more information about the Joint Budget Committee's notification process, please see page 8 of the manual. Here's a schedule of events. You can see today, January 12th, the application opens and closes on February 13th. Review team meetings are happening in March and April. The final finance documentation is due April 17th. And then during May, the finance review teams wrap up their reviews of all of those financial documents for all organizations. Our United Way Board of Directors meets on the 28th of May, and United Way allocation notifications happen on the 29th. For further information, any technical support or support on questions or clarification on questions in the application, don't hesitate to contact me. Prefer to be contacted via email first so that we can schedule a time to either go through technical support or fully answer your questions about applications.